The Pegasus 41 is the latest iteration of the oldest running shoe line in existence. It has been a favorite among runners for its innovation and performance. And so today, let's lace up and find out if the brand new Nike Pegasus 41 can live up to its legendary history. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. For those of you that are new here, my name is Parker-kerth. That's why it's called the Parker-kerth YouTube channel. I'm a full-time triathlete coach and athlete with NVDM coaching. If you're looking for a coach, then my email is listed in the description box below. And right next to that is a big red subscribe button. If you could go ahead and hit that, I would truly appreciate it. Now, usually on this channel, I post a bunch of training videos, training and racing videos. But because I was a little sick this past week, I decided to change it up a bit. And instead, today, I'm going to be reviewing the brand new Nike Pegasus 41. Now, I am no stranger when it comes to the Nike Pegasus line. I've been running in them for quite some time. I actually still run in the Nike Pegasus 39, which I have right here to do some comparisons to, and the 40. Now, if you see some numbers on any of these shoes, it's not some secret code or anything. I just number my running shoes, and so when I put it into Garmin Connect or Strava, I know which shoe to tag the run with. So the 15 means this was the 15th Nike shoe I've ever owned. There was a 19 on here because this was the 19th, and the Nike Pegasus 41 was the 20th running shoe, 20th Nike running shoe I have ever owned. Speaking of the Nike Pegasus 41, let's get into it. So in today's review, I'm going to be talking about some facts and figures, numbers, some of my likes, my dislikes. I haven't had a chance to run in them that much yet because, as I mentioned, I was a little sick this week, but I have logged a few miles in them, and then at the end of this review, I'll tell you some final thoughts. Good way to end a review, huh? Don't you think? So to kick things off, as I mentioned, the facts and figures. To kick things off, I should probably mention the price. These were $139. Sadly, I am not sponsored by Nike yet. One day. So I did pick these up. I got them at the Naperville Running Company, a local running store. Highly recommend checking them out if you guys are in the area. Nolan over there does an amazing job fitting me. Although I already kind of knew the size I wanted. I've worn the same size in the Nike Pegasus line since I've started running in them. I got these in a 9.5, and as always, they fit true to size. Now, in terms of weight, these are a little bit heavier than the outgoing model. However, you can feel it a little bit when you have them, hand in hand, but I didn't notice the added weight when I was running. These came in at, I believe, 10 ounces, and these were 9.7 ounces. So, 0.3 ounces, not the biggest difference. But if that's something that concerns you, then definitely keep that in mind. Now, the primary reason behind the added weight is because of this right here. As you guys can see, this is the biggest difference between the older model and the new model. Actually, this model as well. The Nike Pegasus 41 features the brand new, get this, React X foam. That's right. In the old models, they only had the React foam, but in the 41, you get the brand new React X foam, and you can definitely feel that X. Boy, it is soft, and it is squishy, soft and spongy, squishy, spongy. It's all of the above. Now, because you do get a little bit of that added foam, not only is it a bit heavier, but it runs, I believe, 4 millimeters higher off the ground. And so could it be a little less stable? Possibly. as I mentioned, or I didn't mention this, but as the same with the weight, I really didn't notice a change in the stability when running in this shoe compared to the outgoing model. Yeah, I have pretty strong ankles. Thank you to my Mobo board for that. So I had no issues whatsoever. The drop is actually the same. You get a 10 millimeter drop from the heel to the forefoot. If you're like me and you didn't know what the drop of a shoe meant until you started watching shoe reviews, then here you go, listen up. The drop is the change in height from the heel to the front. So there's a 10 millimeter difference. So you get a little bit of a roll, but nothing crazy, not like a super shoe. Speaking of which, this shoe, and one of the reasons why I like it and I use it for a daily trainer, it does not come with a plate. I have always been on the train of, or the team of, not using plated shoes with a carbon plate or even a nylon plate for that matter in my training. I like to save that for racing. I do use it occasionally, you know, as a tune-up run, but yeah, I like doing all my workouts without a plate. So that's why the Nike Pegasus has been for quite some time one of my go-to running shoes. A few more differences between the newer model and the outgoing model. As you guys can see, the upper here, the part that's on the upper part of the shoe, that's why it's called the upper. Some more shoe terminology for you there. It is newer, obviously, on the Pegasus 41. Not only is it cleaner, really quickly, the colorway, I'm a fan of this, but I'm pretty sure, I don't remember the exact name of the color, but I'm pretty sure it's like cactus something. I think it's super cool, but this does certainly not remind me of a cactus color. I think Nike needs some help in the shoe color naming department. But anyway, back to the upper. The mesh, definitely more breathable. So if you're running in the summertime like now, yeah, it's definitely a little bit more comfortable, more breathable. Not only is it more breathable right here, but also you guys can see there's some perforations. It's a big word. Perforations on the heel cup as well. Speaking of the heel cup, let's transition to talking about transition. See, now I'm working in my triathlete terminology. But the heel cup is something that I do like about the shoe. But let's start off with the dislikes, because honestly, there's really not much that I dislike about this shoe. As I mentioned, I've been running in the Nike Pegasus for quite some time. It's always been a reliable daily trainer for me. Personally, I use it for all my longer tempo run workouts, and especially with this new React foam. If there was React X foam, if there was one dislike I had with the older outgoing model, it was on some of those super long runs, you know, 15, 16, up to 20 miles. I did notice that my foot got a little tired. The React foam wasn't quite as responsive. It just felt a little, yeah, heavy, and I would like a little bit more added protection when running. But now, with the brand new React X foam, we'll have to see how it holds up and if it keeps feeling this kind of squishy and spongy. What did I say? Squingy? Squungy, squishy, soft and spongy, squishy, spongy. But from my first few runs, I've really enjoyed it. I found it to be a much more comfortable run, even though it is a little heavier. As I mentioned, I didn't really feel it. But yeah, maybe after 15, 16 miles, that might start to wear on you a little bit. But I would take the added softness, the added cushion over the, you know, the lighter shoe any day of the week. A few more likes, the new mesh. As I mentioned, it is pretty hot here. Although it's not too hot today, it's a gorgeous day. That's why I decided to come out and film this review outside. But yeah, once it gets into the 90s, if you're in Austin, Texas, like I used to be, and I got some few buddies down there, if you're running that 100-degree weather, that added breathability will be a lifesaver for you. You know, your feet aren't gonna feel like they're in a big pool of water at the end of your run. In terms of slippage, I really had no slippage whatsoever coming back to that heel cup. I was locked in. I didn't have to do any special running, tying magic. I just double knotted it like I double knot all my running shoes. And yeah, I know I've had some issues in the past with some Asics where I felt like my heel was coming up. I felt like there wasn't enough room from the bottom of the shoe to the top, you know, this part right here. That's another thing I really like about all the Nike Pegasus is my heel always feels very secure, and that was no different in the Nike Pegasus 41. And so I think I'm going to wrap it up here. I hear the ice cream truck in the background, and I want to go get some ice cream because even though it's not super hot, it's still around 80 degrees today. And yeah, that ice cream truck is calling my name. But before I go and get some ice cream, I'll leave you guys my final thoughts. If you guys have run on the Nike Pegasus before, then I would highly recommend getting this. Even though it is a little bit more expensive than the outgoing model, I think like $9 more, I think that React X foam is definitely worth the added $9, even though, as I mentioned, it is a little bit heavier and maybe a little less stable. But I really don't view this as a stability shoe. If I'm looking for a stability shoe, maybe something like the Nike Invincible, Nike Infinity Run. This, as I mentioned, is my go-to long run tempo workout shoe, and as has been the 39 and the 40. So I will continue using this to log those long, fun runs in. And yeah, so if you guys like your Nike Pegasus, then highly recommend it. If you never tried out the Nike Pegasus, definitely recommend it. Checking this one out over the outgoing models, because as I mentioned, that foam and the added breathability is definitely nice to have. And the bottom, yeah, nothing has changed too much in terms of that, relatively similar. And the Nike Pegasus, they hold up. I mean, I have around 450 miles on the Nike Pegasus 39. As you guys can see, it is holding up just fine. On the 40, I have around 350 miles. I'm gonna run these until 500 miles at least. This one, yeah, I expect nothing less. So hope you guys enjoyed this review. I know it's a little bit different than the usual content. Should be back next week with the usual overtraining and whatnot. Until then, yeah, let me know in the comments down below if you guys have tried this out, what you guys thought. I'll catch ya in the next one.